Armenian Bar Association of USA New York chapter recently held an exceptional event at renowned Yale Club in Manhattan, titled Public Servants Dinner. The event honored and recognized public servants who follow the career path which advances the greater good and protects and uplifts the entire community through their public service. The dinner was attended by Armenian and non-Armenian prestigious law firm representatives from New York, California, and other states, as well as from countries such as Canada, Russia, and Armenia. Present also were honorable federal and state judges, U.S. attorneys, legal experts, honorary guests, and members of the Armenian community. His Eminence Archbishop Khajak Barsamian read the invocation. After welcoming remarks by the Master of Ceremony, John Helebian, from Lovell Stewart Helebian Jacobson LLP, Saro Kerkonian, Chairman of Armenian Bar Association of America, made remarks.
About 25 years ago, the Armenian Bar Association held its first meeting here in New York City. My beloved cousin Viken Simonian, who was born in Manhattan and eventually became the Chairman Emeritus of the Armenian Bar Association, along with our cousin Adam Kargadorian, attended that first meeting here in New York. Today have been a defining moment in the recent history of our republic. I thank you for joining us at this critical time. As you know, the Armenian Rights Watch Committee of the Armenian Bar Association, under the co-chairmanship of Kani Kerkonian, who is here with us tonight, and Garo Gazarian, has been an outspoken advocate for the advancement of the rule of law and the development of a civil society in Armenia. On behalf of the Armenian Bar Association, I pledge to you our continued support for the people of Armenia as they move forward with the implementation of a new era of reform. The future is bright, and we look forward to your continued leadership advancing the interests of the Republic of Armenia. The Armenian Bar Association is here to assist in this noble effort.
Members of Armenian Bar Association, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut chapter, John Helebian, Claire Kedeshian, and Denis Darmanian, introduced notable public servants present at the evening. 2018 Public Servants Award were presented to 4 outstanding individuals. Honorable Robert Morgenthau, former New York County District Attorney, Gary Mumjian, introduced Mr. Morgenthau. In addition to leading an exemplary life of devoted public service, Mr. Morgenthau has carried on the immense legacy of his grandfather, Henry Morgenthau Sr., the United States ambassador to the Ottoman Empire, who exposed the premeditated intent of the perpetrators of the Armenian genocide, confronting them about their criminal plan and calling on a world to condemn and stop the genocide of Armenian people.
Recently, as you know, I suggested to our president, I said that if he could be bold enough to move the American embassy to Jerusalem over widespread opposition, then he can also be bold enough to call the Armenian genocide by its true name. And that piece I wrote, that a just and lasting world order cannot be built on falsehoods and equivocations. For us gathered here today, that can mean only one thing. We must redouble our efforts to apply the lessons of history in a troubled world. For we are told today is the new age of dictatorship, and country after country despots tell their people that civil order can be maintained only if they forfeit their civil rights. And in country after country, tragically, the people seem to be accepting their plight everywhere it seems, but in the Republic of Armenia. in a popular uprising led by the young, emphatically restored the rule of law. The Prime Minister abandoned his power grab, resigned, and told his nation that was wrong. The Republic of Armenia has honored my grandfather's memory in many ways, and for that I'm grateful. They named a street after him. They transported soil from his grave to Armenia. They put his image on posters there. But I doubt anything pleases them quite so much as what the children of Armenia accomplished in this past week. One of the things that over the years that impresses me most about Armenians, that they never forget their friends, and I'm grateful to be one of them. And public servants, let us learn from these young idealists of the past couple of weeks. Let us find in the Armenian genocide, in the endurance of the Armenian people, and in the struggle for recognition, the inspiration to transform the world. Thank you all for inviting me.
2018, the Armenian Bar Association Public Servant Award was awarded to Honorable Claire Cecchi, United States District Judge for the District of New Jersey. Scott Onegian introduced the Honorable Judge. Among her many honors, Judge Cecchi received the Fordman Law Alumni Associates Distinguished Alumnus Award in 2016. She is a Fellow of the American Bar Foundation, a member of the Historical Society of United States District Court for the District of New Jersey.
It seems to me that it's no surprise that the Armenian Bar Association has chosen to highlight public service today. As we've heard, as giving beyond oneself is so rooted in Armenian thought, experience, and traditions. Our story, like that of so many immigrant groups, has focused us on community and the advancement of others. Today, in telling you a little bit about my journey, I know its value and its message comes from the fact that it is archetypical. It is not unique. It's illustrative of the experiences of Armenians and fellow immigrant groups as a whole. And I know when I speak to you, some of these things will certainly ring true to you in terms of your own families. My maiden name, as you've heard, is Chatterjee. I'm of full Armenian descent on both my mother's and my father's side. Oh. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I'll tell you, how am I Armenian? Well, I'm an expert pilaf maker. I went to Camp Newbar. So I was married at St. Martin's Cathedral here in New York City. And I say Kisha Bari to my son every night when he goes to sleep.
Judge Cecchi is also actively involved in community outreach. In her speech, Judge Cecchi added that everyone has a mentor, and in her personal and professional life, her mentors were her parents and her genocide survivor Armenian grandmother.
Now, in considering public service, I have no doubt that each one of you here this evening has been touched by a mentor or mentee at various stages in your careers. And I had my first exposure in the public sector as an intern for Judge Kevin Thomas Duffy, and that was in the Southern District of New York. Now, I'm very lucky to have had a wonderful family, although both my parents have passed away, my father when I was 19, and my mother a year ago. They were community-minded and valued education. But today, however, I'd like to focus on my grandmother on my mother's side, Kohar, or Clara, for whom I'm named, as she provides such particular inspiration. She came from the town of Havav in Palu, an Armenian village in present-day Turkey. As struggles in her homeland worsened, my grandfather came to the United States to begin preparations for a better life. My grandmother, unfortunately, came later and was left to bear the most significant hardship. The lives of her family were taken from her. She marched through the Syrian desert with her young son, my uncle, who died of starvation. She eventually boarded the Mauritania, that's a sister ship of the Lusitania, destined for Greenwich Village, New York. Before boarding, she did one thing. Being Armenian, it will make some sense to you in a moment. She bought 2 rugs. One was stolen through a porthole in the ship in Marseille, France. The other made it and remains as a testament to her strength and her story at our home today. Now, the trauma of her early life did not diminish Clara's faith in the essential goodness of others. She never lost confidence in the power of a strong mind and spirit to triumph over adversity. When confronted with the petty inconveniences of our modern lives, I think of my grandmother, and I think how comfortable we are, and I try and remain true to her example. Now, when I was young, my grandmother and I would play cards. At the same time, she'd chat with me and tell stories, some of which I understood, some of which I tried to catch as she was going forward. But she'd speak in Armenian, as her command of English, again, was very limited. Now, one of those poems, perhaps the simplest one, stays with me to this day. So here it goes, as I do my best to recite it in Armenian. Here I go. Someone could do a better translation than I'm about to give you soon, but it's Pasig Pasig Naman Harsig, Tatig Nerov, Jangig Nerov, Gedin Nister Zagin Timas, Inshu Hamar Dardum Nastav, Anor Hamar Bukchikadav. Roughly translated, it means the lazy cat doesn't catch any mice. The underlying message: work hard, do your best, do something, make a difference. I know whatever way it has been presented, all of us have had the same message, and I know collectively, all of us in this room have risen to that challenge. Our ancestors, looking at this evening, might be happy to see individual recognition, but even more than that, they would be thrilled to see the community coming together with the ideal of real efforts towards public betterment. Simply put, your presence here would make them proud.
2018, the Armenian Bar Association Public Servant Award was also awarded to Honorable NYS Supreme Court Justice Deborah Karalunas. Justice Karalunas was introduced by Honorable Paul Feynman, Associate Judge of New York Court of Appeals. Justice Karalunas is a member of the New York State Bar Association, the Central New York Women's Bar Association, the Onondaga County Bar Association. She is currently the president of the Association of Justice of the Supreme Court of the State of New York. Justice Karalunas teaches New York civil practice at Syracuse University College of Law and speaks frequently on many substantive law and trial practice topics.
Bari Yareko, Shat Shanor Hakal Lutuns Ais Metz Batif Hamar. My grandparents, Armenian orphans, came to this country from Syria in the early 1900s. In doing so, they exchanged the wounds of genocide and extreme poverty for peace and prosperity. I stand before you a product of their faith, determination, and success, and their commitment to each other, their family, this country, and humanity. Although my Armenian grandparents never held public office, they devoted their lives to helping others, to serving others. As eventual owners of a restaurant and a number of apartment buildings, they served by offering housing and food encouragement, and kindness to other Armenian immigrants who came to this great but unfamiliar country. For me and my dear friends and colleagues on the bench, many of whom are here tonight, and I thank you for your presence, we have the honor and privilege of serving others, not as my Armenian grandparents did, with shelter and food, but by listening, solving problems and disputes, and administering justice. We do that in a profession about which we are passionate, so it hardly seems like work. While I'm one of the named honorees tonight, I know that the Armenian Bar Association and each one of its members work tirelessly to ensure justice by graciously serving others with the gifts God has given you. So tonight, let's applaud you.
The fourth recipient of Public Servant Awards was Honorable Richard Hartunian, former United States Attorney of Northern District of New York. Judge Hartunian was introduced by Honorable Glenn Sudabe, Chief U.S. District Judge for the Northern District of New York. As U.S. Attorney, Mr. Hartunian worked with dedicated prosecutors, focusing on affirmative civil enforcement cases and routinely conducting investigations into government contracting, healthcare, and environmental fraud. Mr. Hartunian also provided counsel to Attorney Generals Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch.
I'm so proud to be a part of this. I just want to say, Mr. Morgenthau, it is an honor to be here with you and your family. I can't tell you how much it means to me to be sharing this evening with you, and so thank you so much for your wonderful words of inspiration and leadership. I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my journey and my Armenian heritage and how it played a role in where I've gotten today. I began my career, some of you will be surprised to hear, in the dumpster behind a supermarket. My father and my uncle ran a market in Latham, New York, the Skyview Star supermarket, and I used to work there. I worked there as a kid when I was in middle school, high school, college, law school, beyond, and even during the time that I was in practicing law as a young assistant district attorney. But I got my start because there was a customer in the store. His name was Dan Dwyer, who was the chief assistant district attorney, and Dan was married to a woman named Jean Durachin. She was an Armenian woman, and Dan, through his marriage and through his learning about the Armenian community and the Armenian people, became a great admirer of the Armenian people, and he knew that they had great strength, they had resilience, they had intelligence, they had a strong work ethic. And one day when I was working at the store and I was in the dumpster in the back of the store, my father came out and said, "I need you to get in here right away. What are you doing up in the dumpster?" I said, "Dad, I'm jumping up and down like you taught me to crush the garbage in the dumpster." He said, "Get out of here, come in." And I met Dan Dwyer, and I talked to Dan Dwyer, and he offered me a job as a law clerk in the district attorney's office of Albany County. It's a true story. And I started working there, and I worked with Dan, and as Paul Darneshan knows, who's here and who was an assistant at the time, he was a legend. He was a lion in the law. The district attorney at the time was Saul Greenberg, who was our equivalent of Mr. Morgenthau in upstate New York. He served for many terms, 25 years, and you know him and remember him well. We lost him last year. But I worked for Dan, and I was a law clerk, and it would be a time shortly after I graduated from law school when I had the opportunity to be hired as an assistant district attorney, and Dan brought me into the DA's office and to meet the district attorney. He said, "I want you to meet Mr. Greenberg." And he told Mr. Greenberg about me, about the work I had done as a law clerk. He told him that I was an Armenian, a proud Armenian, that my father and my uncle had come. Second generation, they had come here, established a business, and they had been community leaders. They had helped build their parish. And Saul was quite impressed, and he looked at me and he said, "You know, you're Armenian." I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Both your parents are Armenian?" I said, "Yes, yes they are." He said, "You know, the Irish make the best prosecutors. The Irish are really the best prosecutors." I thought I was in good shape until he said that. But he said, you know, the Armenians are pretty good too. And he hired me, and he believed in me, and I started my career as an assistant district attorney. And it was from that point on that I really came to understand the importance of helping others, and I think doing things in the traditional Armenian way, which is to work hard and to be honest, to be full of integrity. And so I tried to do that throughout my career, and I've had a lot of good fortune along the way. So I just want to say, really in closing, that it is an honor to be here among you all, to be with these wonderful honorees, our judges, our district attorney. I feel humbled to be in their presence, honestly.
Music entertainment was provided by well-known a cappella trio Zulam. Co-vice chair of Armenian Bar Association, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut chapter, Suren Israelian, from Law Office of Suren Israelian, who was one of the members instrumental in the success of the event, made the closing remarks.
Thank you very much for all of you coming. One thing is rings true that Morgenthau said. We never forget our friends. I do not know why is that, but we never forget. Whoever is here, we appreciate truly. You're the public servants. Your heart beats for the public, for the service to the public, and behind everything you do, you understand that there's a person behind it that your actions will affect. And you are the true champions of the humanity, and you are the backbone of the greatest democracy ever known into humanity.
The event concluded with His Eminence Archbishop Oshakan Choloyan reading the benediction.
We are thankful for this special day given to us, with all its blessings, and especially for the opportunity we had a short time ago to honor and recognize 4 distinguished public servants.
During its existence, the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut chapter of the Armenian Bar Association has achieved amazing success and has grown into a robust and highly active organization. An organization that is vital for well-being of Armenian legal community in East Coast, our diaspora at large, and of course our motherland, Armenia.